I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines, and today I'm gonna do one of my favorite videos, and I know it's probably one of your favorite videos because I always get so many comments and engagement. It's a question and answer video. And today I'm gonna be reading off of a Post-it note because not all of the questions come from our YouTube channel, but also my Instagram page. So make sure you look me up on Instagram, send me a DM. I do try to read and respond to those. It's just the Dustin Mason, and you can find me there. Okay, so we'll start with Dustin. What is your favorite Lexus that's come to the dealership? Well, this is tricky. I have like two that I've narrowed it down to. Obviously, if we ever had an LFA here, that would be my favorite Lexus. However, a good friend of mine and good client of mine, let's call him Joseph, did order for me a GSF a number of years ago. That was a really cool car. It was the exterior was blue with like a white interior from what I remember. And it was my first time being with the GSF. The GS350 was a car that I started with the brand, and I instantly fell in love of the craftsmanship and the ride and all the things that car brought to life. And the GSF was such a step up from that. Here's a mid-sized saloon with a V8 rear-wheel drive and super rare, and I think it's so cool. If we ever get one traded in, I hope I'm financially ready because I'll want to buy it for sure. My second choice would probably be, I really love the LS. It's again, a very hidden gem of a car, but it's such a flagship in the lineup. And there's just something about a high-end sedan that I just absolutely love. So my other one would be the LS. Dustin, what is your next demo going to be? Well, right now I'm driving an RX 350h, and I'm gonna hold on to that for as long as possible. But with the 2024s coming out or phasing out and the 25s coming, I know I'm gonna have to sell it soon. So I'm really hoping I can convince my boss to let me get an RX 500h as my next demo, because now that I really like the hybrid aspect of the car, having that performance aspect, I think it'd be great, especially for the winter months. So Mark Lovelock, if you are watching this video, let me have an RX 500h. Maybe we'll do like a poll and everybody can vote for it. But that would be my next demo if I could choose. Dustin, how does the intelligent high beam work? So this is a question I actually got through email the other day, and I was going back and forth with a guest, and it was funny because I learned something about this. And it used to be in many Lexus vehicles, that little signal switch to the left of your steering wheel that you turn your high beams on and stuff like that, it used to be that to have your automatic high beams on, you have to have it pushed away from you. So it was in like the high beam setting, and then you'd press a button and it would like turn off the high beams. Well, now it's actually the opposite. So you're gonna have that sort of towards you or just in the middle, and then the button on the side will have the auto. Now, if you're in a dark enough area and your high beams are on, that blue symbol will be on if your high beams are on. However, if there's a car coming towards you and your high beams switch off, that'll go out. Now, if you have the triple beam LED intelligent high beam assist, that blue light will stay on because your high beams are still on, and it's just fading out one of those bulbs that, that obstacle or pedestrian or whatever is in. So it's a little bit complicated, but I promise you it's all for safety and to make sure we have a nice, bright, and enjoyable drive. Okay, Dustin, what is some book recommendations for someone getting into car sales? You're probably gonna think that I'm going to say, some very car sales specific books, and there's no shortage of that. There's lots of companies that do that. They have some great aspects to it. However, my favorite books for car sales or anybody getting into car sales, probably number one is gonna be Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This is a book that if you talk to anybody that's really made a name for themselves in the car industry, especially with a luxury brand like Lexus, they either have read it, read it every year, or even go as far as keep it in their desk drawer. I keep it in my desk drawer, but I recently gave it away to this kid named Jack over the summer because he needed to read it. That book, it's really old school. It was written a long time ago. However, some of those lessons are just great refreshers for us. And it all comes down to what I call communication or emotional intelligence. And it's great for leadership and it's great for sales because it'll teach something like you can catch more bees with honey, which is like a really funny old school saying. What that means is if you're nice to people, you can get more of what you want instead of being sour all the time. And it also teaches you that the most important word in the English language is actually your name. So make sure you use other people's names. There's many lessons in that book. It's a very light read. I keep it in my office, like I said, and sometimes I'll just skim through it. If I need a little pick me up, if I'm doing something leadership-wise or dealing with maybe a really difficult guest, I will always read that, and it's good for both sales and management. So if you get into sales and you want to move into management, it's some great skills to have. The other book that I would recommend, there is so many. One of the ones that comes to mind is Psycho-Cybernetics. This was a book that when I was on the sales floor at Toyota back in the day, a guest came in and he recommended me a couple books. This was one of them. And from what I remember, it's a couple years ago, it really helped me visualize my goals and understand that, you know, how the brain works with getting you to your goals, whether you believe in that stuff or not, but it worked for me. And sort of the best way I could describe it is, they say that like your goal-striving mechanism in your brain is kind of like a heat-seeking missile. Well, once you define what it is, it'll constantly work towards it. And it kind of is like, you know, when you do multiple choice tests and in school, your teacher would always say, hey, if you don't know the answer to number 3, just move on to number 4 and 5 and 6, and your brain will continuously work on it. And that's what it is. It's your subconscious working on that problem, even when you aren't. And they say that that's the same with getting to your goals. So really making sure you have a definition of your goal. Maybe that's to sell 8 cars, maybe it's to call 10 people, maybe it's just, you know, to make someone happy today. Your brain will find a reason to get there. It's kind of like the red car theory, where if I asked you today how many red cars you saw on your way to work, you might say none, but on your way home tonight, you're gonna see like 30 because now you're looking for them. So it has something to do with that. I think that book was also the same one that talks a little bit about self-image and how to portray yourself as the person you want to be. So it's probably more of a self-help book, and some of you might be like, oh, I don't know if that's going to get me to sell more cars. Anything emotional intelligence or communication intelligence, to me, is a big reason why I became successful at such a young age. So take that for what it's worth. Dustin, can you give us a tour of that showroom that you're always filming in? Yes, I can, but I am going to preface this a little bit. We are bursting at the seams in this building right now, and pretty soon we'll be unveiling our new Lexus dealership. But until then, we've really taken up as much space as you can. So as you can see behind me, we have our Lexus showroom that holds 4 or 5 Lexus vehicles. However, it used to hold more until we started to grow our team to the 7 salespeople that we have now. Those 7 desks are sort of spread out, and if you come with me, I'll show you. Along this entire glass wall, we have Jason in the corner, Michael next to him, Aaron, Ian, Mo, Bilal, and Steven all along this wall. And because we've been growing so quickly and reshaping all of these offices, some of the workspaces are more crammed than others, and some of them have a coat rack where others have a little glass case to be able to hide all of our Lexus gifts. Also, a couple salespeople do have fridges in their office. They told me it was for guest drinks, but really I think they just wanted their own Perrier and Gatorade for all of those long days calling customers to come buy cars. So that's where the Lexus sales team sits. Over back to the entrance over here. We have 2 entrances to the showroom. This one here is what we call our service entrance. That's why sometimes there's some tires. It's a very high traffic area, and it's really hard to keep clean, especially this time of the year with all the leaves. So again, this team has grown a little bit too. So we have a little bit of a part-time service desk here for Ursula, who's really close to retiring, but has held on, and she's here half a days. Then we have Shirag and Paula, our service advisors here. This is really the most high traffic area. And by the way, there's a lot of people that sit upstairs that are also calling and booking guests in for service appointments. We have our fearless service manager, Maurizio, over in that back corner so he can keep an eye on everything service related. And then in this office here, where there's always some treats, and there was a little dish of candy the other day, that's where Lori sits with her trusty sidekick, Dylan, and they help us with a lot of internal stuff. But if we keep going this way, there is some more things to go over. This is our Lexus lounge. And again, we have a brand new dealership coming very soon. However, right now, this is where guests will sort of relax, drink coffee, make tea while waiting for their Lexus to be serviced. since we have a free loaner program and valet service, we don't get a lot of guests waiting here, but sometimes for a small service, maybe they will. However, we have a fleet of like 12 Lexus loaners, so a lot of times when guests come in for service, they'll just take one of the loaners for free, drive around, do some errands. It's usually a brand new Lexus. And even if we run out of Lexuses, we have some rental cars here too, so it sort of mixes up that. We have this brand new coffee machine. I'm a big coffee guy, and this one does fresh ground coffees, or coffee beans. So I drink a couple espressos a day, but it also does like cappuccinos and stuff like that. Then we have a little fridge with some other refreshments, some tea. Actually, fun fact, you'll see on some of the salespeople's offices, this little cactus setup, and that was from the TX launch we did. That was sort of, it had a lot of like Southern foods and some cactus and those types of themes because of the TX. Mainly it was like a play on the word Texas. Also, we have some National Geographics that, believe it or not, these came from my house because I'm a big National Geographic fan, and I decided to bring some in for our Lexus guests recently, and I saw people reading them. So I was like, you know what? I'll leave those here for them. We have a little bit of our display case here with some Lexus boutique items. So these are items that we'll get for our guests, and sometimes have them at delivery as well. You can buy your own and have like a Lexus golf bag if you're a golfer. Come on with me, I'll show you to my office. Beside me is Ralph, one of our financial services managers, and I sit right next to him. So I have a nice view of the showroom and all of the salespeople and what's going on. I want you to keep your eyes up here because my office is messy, and I don't want to say that it's never messy because it's literally always like this, but I've been in this room for like 10 years. Up here, I have a mixture of gifts and trophies that I've gotten over the years. One of my proudest is the Shark Media congratulations for passing 10,000 subscribers. Pretty soon, we'll get to that 100,000 mark, and I'll have an even bigger one. I also have this cool little Ducati from a really good guest and friend of mine, Moran. He 3D printed that. I have this little Piper Cherokee airplane, which is a replica of the airplane that I fly. And this Ducati here that was built for me by one of the managers in the building. It's one of those like Technique Lego, and the pistons move up and down. It actually has gears and stuff like that. And he knows I'm a big Ducati guy, so I have another YouTube channel, believe it or not, that's mostly motorcycle related. So check that out if you haven't already. It's called A Dusty Life, and I go over a lot of Ducati stuff. Then I have this gift, which I always thought was so cute. Previous employee / friend of mine, Trina, got me this for Christmas one year, I think. It's a little picture of me, my dog, and a Lexus in the background, which I thought was great. My dog, Oliver, that's who's there. And she also got me this when she was working here, which is a really cool photo of my LS 460 in Niagara-on-the-Lake, of course. And I forgot that this is here, but one of our little Lexus bears. And I try to keep something like this in the showroom once in a while, just in case a kid or there's a little family or something like that. If I can give them a gift, I always think that that's really cool. Over from here, we have some more cars, as well as another financial service office, Emily. She's gonna be kind of mad when she gets in because I have some really big boxes in her office right now full of our Christmas bows that we're gonna be using for the Christmas season, and I didn't have anywhere else to store them. From there, we can go over to this office here. Now, this is one that we built sort of, it's like, I call it like an auxiliary office. So this is where my co-manager, Dane, works out of. Again, because we kept growing and growing and growing, we decided we needed another sales manager, and we needed to build him a little station. It was Olivia's before his, and right now it belongs to Dane. So he's like my co-manager, or my co-pilot as I call him. Then over that direction, you sort of transition over to the Toyota dealership. We have some administrative staffs, as well as our boardroom and lunchroom and stuff like that. So I know it's just a quick tour of the dealership. However, pretty soon, not soon enough, but pretty soon, we will have a much bigger and more state-of-the-art building. So there you have it, a little bit of question and answers from both the comments and my Instagram DMs. And for the first time ever, a little tour of where I work and where I film every day. I do get asked all the time, where's all the people? But I usually film at nighttime because I'm so busy during the day. And in future videos, if you liked that part, maybe I'll show a little bit of the shop and upstairs and the rest of the dealership, and maybe I'll even do it during the daytime when people are here. Just let me know in the comments below. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.